Hey folks, Joe Morris with Answers, Heaven Speaks. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's Monday. Monday already. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And some places who get this, it's already Tuesday. Yeah, because we get a lot of people who are following this that are over there in Eurasia and Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. I'm not sure if we really get anybody from Afghanistan, but I don't know. It just depends on where Meta wants to send everything. Anyway, I hope you had a real good weekend. I did a little studying. Again, my name is Joe Morris. I'm with Answers Heaven Speaks. If you want to learn more about who we are, tap that Learn More button up there in the top corner, and it'll take you to Marissa's website, discoverintuition.com, and it'll give you that will give you some idea of what Marissa's talents are. And Marissa's my daughter, and she's a clear channel clairvoyant. We don't always agree on the same things, but she has a special ability to talk to the other side. Talk to the other side, not just to grandma and her grandma with her pearls or what have you. So what we're doing with this series is Monday through Friday, I come on for about an hour or less. And I'm not sure how long I'm going to be on here today. Watch my lights. Look at, they're flickering, and then they go off, and they come back on. So I don't know. I don't know how long I'm going to last on here today, but we'll give it a try. But anyway, who wants to talk about Jesus on a Monday? You know, you had your whole weekend to think about God and enjoy life, what have you. Now it's back to the humdrum of Monday. But then again, a lot of people will be watching this late at night, late on a Monday, or maybe early on a Tuesday. But it's another week. God gave you another day to live, didn't he? Didn't he? You're here. So just be grateful. Just be grateful for every day that God gives you. What I was starting to say is that last week, well, really for about the last month and a half or so, I started studying, for some unknown reason, I started studying the Quran. Something told me, something intuitively told me I need to go understand where the world is coming from. Why do people act the way they do? And that was led to me because I get a lot of people who love the story of Jesus. You have to understand that even in the Muslim faith, they love Isa or Isa, and that is Jesus. They just don't believe the New Testament. They don't believe in the story of Jesus as was given to us by the New Testament authors. And they have their own idea of who Jesus is. So I didn't even know that. I didn't know that Muslims even liked Jesus because it appeared that they hated Christians so much. But you know what? I've found out that their book, the book that they're supposed to be following, not necessarily the Quran, because the Quran wasn't even mentioned until at least the fourth chapter. And let me see how many verses. When I left off with you on Friday, I had read 488 verses of the Quran. As of, let's see, I did start in on chapter 5, but I kind of stopped. I got up to about 6, 9, 7, so I went from, let's see, 691. Yeah, I'm up around 691 verses now. And that's taken me up through chapter 4 and just starting in on chapter 5. It may be some more than that. And what I find in the Quran is, and I don't mean to take anybody from their faith. Everybody should believe their faith. They want to, the way they want to believe it. But when there's something in your faith that tells you to kill people, I don't believe that's Gabriel telling Muhammad, oh, go kill these people because they don't believe you. All the way up through the Quran, they keep saying that Allah is merciful. Allah will strike judgment upon you for the way you act here. and all the way up through maybe about 500 passages, verses, it was always led up to God to make judgment on anybody who was an unbeliever. And then all of a sudden, and whenever they would make reference to the book, they were really referring to the Bible, because they are. Let me make sure I'm on. I think I'm on. I hope I'm on. Yeah. The other day I didn't have any sound. Anyway, it looks like Marissa's coming in early. So anyway, I'm not sure I'll be able to do what I thought I might do today, but let's see what Marissa has to say. Let's see if she comes in and has anything to say, or whether she just wants to listen to the story today. Because I've gotten to a point in the Rancher book, in paper 143. Look how the lights are going on and off. So I hope that doesn't create a problem. So hang in there, folks. I was in the process of bringing Marissa in, and I don't think I need to recap because, for the most part,
Hey,
there you are.
it's working.
Boy,
Okay, I want you to do whatever you're going to do. I know you like to say hi to your people that watch the show and stuff like that on Mondays. I just wanted to make sure that I could get in when the time came and that I wasn't getting ready for nothing. So, you go ahead and do you, and then I'll send the request through it at like 25 after.
okay, you don't want to stay on there for now? You just want to.
And this is the part where you just say hi to your people and stuff like that, and then I'll just click on at 25 after, so I'm not just sitting there staring at everyone.
Yeah,
That's boring.
I can't really. Well, let's see. I got out of Facebook, so I don't have Facebook on my computer, so I'm not going to say. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But anyway, okay. Let me just go on with my story, and when I see the red light, I'll bring you back on.
Yeah, now we know I can get in, so I'll pop back in like 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
happy Monday.
let's definitely keep it under an hour. I think that's why
Oh, yeah.
you're not allowed to get these things out on Vimeo because they're over an hour.
Yeah,
So
the files are too big.
we got to
Yeah,
stay
be under
under
an
an
hour.
hour.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
See you
I'll
soon.
talk to you in a
Okay.
bit. Bye.
Okay. See you soon,
Okay.
everyone.
My apologies, everybody, for there being a break right there, because, like I say, we've been having some troubles with our electricity. But we're in Mexico. I'm in Mexico. We've even had problems like this, even in Las Vegas and in Carlsbad and Encinitas and California. So, I can't complain too much. But the point I'm making is there's such a difference between the way a story is told in the Quran and in the Bible and in the Urantia book. And I'm in the Urantia book because it is a channeled book from the 1930s, and it gives us the entire life of Jesus. You think you get the entire life, but you go into the Bible and you kind of wonder why each book is a little bit different. They don't grow on each other. It's because the the authors, especially those of the New Testament, wrote everything down long after they were here with Jesus. But when you have something, okay, it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was actually 22 years ago. Planes flew into the World Trade Center and knocked down two of our buildings. I could tell you if I was in a session, if I was under hypnosis or whatever, I could probably tell you every single thing I did that day, or certainly everything that happened during that day, because it was such an extraordinary thing to happen. And in Jesus' life, he was the extraordinary thing. In the Quran, they make it out that Muhammad is the extraordinary thing. Even though they speak of the book, they always refer to the book, the book, the book, the book. And the book is actually the Bible. And then after we get into, over 600 verses, all of a sudden they name the Quran. That's why I tend to believe that a lot of this stuff was edited. Things were added to it later on, probably after Muhammad had died, because there actually were not that many. There were in 1900, so 123 years ago. I was just looking at the numbers. There were something like 175 million Muslims around the world in 1900, and yet in 2000 there were 1.7 billion. So it went up 1,700,000,000 up in just 1 year. And my understanding is that really the books of the Hadith and of the wisdom and the life of Muhammad. There's 4 books that follow the Quran, and they were all written. They weren't finalized until the 1800s and the early 1900s, and yet they say that book, every word, including the period, is from God. From God. Well, they made it clear it's not from God. It's from Gabriel. Now, who we get from the Urantia book is we've got someone, probably it was Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, was channeling lots and lots of universe counselors and Melchizedeks and even Michael. And Michael, of course, is the reason for everything, because Michael is the creator of our universe. And there are, just very hard to believe, but in the Urantia book, there are 7 super universes. We're one little universe inside 7 major super universes, and there are over 611,000 universes. Think about that. Think of how big our universe is. Now, try to imagine there being 611,000 more. And there is still just one Father. There's one Father, there's one Holy Spirit, and there is one eternal Son. But from them come new sons of God, and they are all Michaels, and the Michaels create their universes. So look at it this way: God and the eternal Son are saying, okay, we got a new universe we need to build. Let's create a new Michael. And so the eternal Son and God and the Holy Spirit create a new Michael, an actual being, a celestial being in spirit. And that Michael, I don't know, maybe he's automatically an adult. I don't know. Lord knows how that all works. But 400 billion years ago started our universe. Our universe, our people say, oh, it was 16 billion years ago. The Urantia book says it was actually 400 billion years ago that the first supernovas went out for our universe. And it took a long time for it all to form. And now we look in the telescopes and we see all these galaxies and constellations all over the place. And it took 400 billion years, according to the Urantia book. So anyway, I'm still there. I'm still going between the account of Jesus in the Urantia book, because it's so fabulous to learn his story. Because I think of the Bible as sort of like a short story, Reader's Digest. Although many people would argue with me about that, reducing the Bible to a Reader's Digest. But they don't have all the backstory. They don't have all the conversations that took place and what exactly happened after Lazarus was raised from the dead. What exactly happened leading up to healing healing the person who couldn't walk. That was in the around the pool of something. We'll get that pool name, but we just get all the conversations that take place before and after those things happen, and they don't. It's not in the Bible. So that's what's so much fun about reading the Urantia book. So we left off yesterday or on Friday. We'd gotten into page 144, 143 of the Urantia book, and we're talking about the goodness of God, the goodness of the Father. And now we're going to get into what is considered mastery of self. I don't know how far we can get into it because it's a good time to compare, if we have the time, compare the writings in the Urantia book to the writings in the Quran. Dealing with kind of the same thing of self-mastery. And I'm going to keep an eye on to see when Marisa wants to come in. We'll definitely keep this under an hour, even if I have to cut Marisa right off at the very end, because we can't boost this out as far. I mean, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people if we can get it onto Vimeo. And but when it just goes out through, it still goes out to thousands through Facebook. But we could be touching on so many other people's lives if we can keep this under an hour, and so we can boost them up on another platform and send them out that way. So let's continue on with the Urantia book, and then we'll get into self-mastery a little bit, and then I'll get into some of the passages of the Quran to see how they match up. And don't think this is church. This isn't church. This is storytelling. This is the kind of stuff you just kind of put away in your brain. Put it in the background. This is something you're learning, and it's going to help you in your daily life. So Jesus is quoted as saying, "Because my Father is a God of love and delights in the practice of mercy, do not imbibe in the idea that the service of the kingdom is to be one of monotonous ease." I think we all know that. Life is, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier today before I was getting started here. I was thinking, what? Life has been one big pain in the butt. Constantly. There's always something. There's always something going wrong. Either dealing with your kids, or your cars break down, or you lose your job and you got to get another job, or you lose your house, you got to find a place to live. And I mean, it's just like one test after another, after another, after another, after another. It's just the way life is. And here Jesus saying, God is love. God is love. Well, if God is love, does he allow these kind of things to happen to us? What he's saying is it isn't God. It's yourself. It's yourself, and how much you believe in yourself, and how much you believe in God. So anyway, there is no, our life is not monotonous ease, according to Jesus. The paradise ascent is the supreme adventure of all time. Paradise ascent. We die. We go into a Marancha life. We don't know how long that goes. It's about 500 lives, 570 lives that you have to live. 570, you're living one right now. Just think, you got to live 570 more before you can graduate from the Marancha level of heaven. And we know that there are 7 mansion worlds in this next dimension. And after you've graduated through all 7, then you go on and you merge with that piece of the Father that lives inside you, that piece of God. You'll then merge with that piece of God on your spiritual journey to the Father. How long that takes? Eternity. Long time. Very long time. Consider all the universes that are out there. Oh my God. Time? Is there time? I don't know. Okay, my computer is telling me that I'm now plugged in, which means we're getting little blinks of our electricity again. So my apologies to those who are on here, and then I all of a sudden lost them. I had a bunch of people, but we were down for almost 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Paradise Ascent is the supreme adventure of all time, the rugged achievement of eternity. The service of the kingdom on earth will call for all the courageous manhood that you and your co-workers can muster. Many of you will be put to death. This is Jesus speaking, and he's talking to the apostles. Now, can you imagine? You're in this group, call it a cult, call it whatever, but it's Jesus and 12 apostles. And Jesus is saying, many of you will be put to death for your loyalty to the gospel of this kingdom. I guarantee you don't see that in the Quran. It is easy to die in the line of physical battle when your courage is strengthened by the presence of your fighting comrades. Yeah. If you're out on the battlefield all by yourself, you're not going to have the same courage as you have when you have a whole line of men on both sides of you. But it requires a higher and more profound form of human courage and devotion, calmly and all alone, to lay down your life for the love of a truth enshrined in your mortal heart. Laying yourself down. He goes on, he says, today the unbelievers, that comes up in, this is not the Quran, these are just my notes of reading the Quran and which pages to take a look at. But the Quran speaks of unbelievers constantly. And they even got to the point in chapter 3 where they says, you have the right to go and kill them. No, Gabriel would never do that. God would never instruct you to take the place of God and act in judgment of God. Yes, if you're in a battle, you're in a war, and somebody's about ready to kill you, you have that right to defend yourself. But just to kill somebody because they don't believe the way you do? No, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And the problem is I can't ask Gabriel. Through Marisa, I cannot ask him because he won't answer. They've already told us they're not going to do anything to discredit the holy books, because the holy books are what people hang on to give them that springboard to a relationship with God. So today, the unbelievers may taunt you with preaching a gospel of non-resistance and with living lives of non-violence. But you are the first volunteers of a long line of sincere believers in the gospel of this kingdom who will astonish all mankind by their heroic devotion to these teachings. Once again, he's just telling them that basically, the unbelievers are going to try to convince you instead of you trying to convince them. Again, he's speaking to his apostles. He's saying your courage will lead you to great things, and to be a member of the gospel and to be delivering the gospel of the kingdom. So no armies of the world have ever displayed more courage and bravery than will be portrayed by you, by the 12, by you and your loyal successors, who shall go forth to all the world proclaiming the good news, which is the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. That's it. That is the kingdom of heaven. The fatherhood of God means we are all sons and daughters of God. And that life would be better on this entire earth if we just treated our neighbor as ourselves. It's hard to do. It's hard to do when there are people out there that are willing to seek you out and cut your head off because you don't believe the way they do. They are not living up to the brotherhood of man. They aren't. And so how do you deal with that? How do you deal with it? You defend yourself. And as I was starting to say, the reason why I moved over into learning more about Islam, because I have a lot of people from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh that do watch and listen to our show. And so I've got a lot of Arab names that like us and give out hearts and things like that. And I felt kind of funny because here are all these Arab names that are, maybe they're Muslim? Yes, and many have written to me and they expound on the Quran. And then many of them are just curious Muslims. And I think that's that curiosity that leads people into the kingdom much farther. And so I wanted to learn a little bit more about that because I had people who either follow that religion or what have you. So I needed to have a little bit better understanding myself. But I can't possibly know everything about the Quran and Muhammad in a month and a half. I can't. But I can come to certain conclusions by some of the passages that I read that According to everybody in the Muslim faith, Gabriel came down, and his name is Jibril in Muslim, in Arabic. And Jibril gave all these sayings to an illiterate man named Muhammad. Now, why his name was Muhammad, you have to ask his mother, because the term Muhammad was the chosen one, and always referred to Jesus. Always referred to Jesus. And Muhammad came along 600 years after Jesus. So they all knew who Jesus was. I mean, they still love him. So anyway, the courage of the flesh is the lowest form of bravery. The courage of the flesh is the lowest form of bravery. Mind bravery is a higher type of human courage, but the highest and supreme is uncompromising loyalty to the enlightened convictions of profound spiritual realities. Enlightened convictions toward profound spiritual realities. And such courage constitutes the heroism of the God-knowing man. And you are all God-knowing men. He's still speaking to the apostles. You are in very truth the personal associates of the Son of Man. Enoch, Book of Enoch, Son of Man. That's where Jesus picked it up. He picked it up actually reading a dusty old copy of the Book of Enoch from a library that was in Nazareth. And it was after he had already done his caravan trips, but before he started going out and picking up his apostles and training them. He did that for like 2.5 years, for a long time, 1.5 years at least. Now, this was not all that Jesus said on that occasion, but it is the introduction of his address. And he went on at great length in amplification and in illustration of this pronouncement. This was one of the most impassioned addresses which Jesus ever delivered to the 12. That goes back to what we were talking about on Friday as well. So this is a continuation. Seldom did the Master speak to his apostles with evident strong feelings, but this was one of those few occasions when he spoke with manifest earnestness, accompanied by marked emotion. Now, the result upon the public preaching and personal ministry of the apostles was immediate. From that very day, their message took on a new note of courageous dominance. The 12 continued to acquire the spirit of positive aggression in the new gospel of the kingdom. From this day forward, they did not occupy themselves so much with the preaching of the negative virtues and the passive injunctions of their master's many-sided teachings. Jesus did not like to preach about anything in the Old Testament that was of negative of a nature. So if it meant talking about wars and people killing other people, he never made reference. He wouldn't make reference to that. He would make reference to the Psalms and the Proverbs, to early parts of the Torah, which are the first 5 books of the Bible, and kind of stays out of the history of the Jews. You know, the books of Samuel and Kings and Judges. And although Job is mentioned, Job is kind of a very unique book. But then he does get into all the prophets. He does not all of them, but most of them. Primarily with Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel. All of them foretelling the coming of the Son of Man. Now, the lesson on self-mastery. How are we doing on time? Okay, I got to check and see if Marissa's going to come in because it's been over. And there's Marissa. Let me see if I can add her, send invite. Let's see if she can get in there. Because we can't go much more than about 15 minutes. I'm not going to be able to get into these Quranic passages just yet. Although I could. I started with chapter 4. It's entitled On Nisa. On Nisa. Okay, Marissa's not coming in. She was in here before. Let me try it again. Nope, don't want the keyboard. My fingers are really big. Nope, now she's completely gone. No, here she comes. There she is. Okay, yeah, you're sideways, Marissa. There you
Oh,
go.
I am.
Yeah, you're sideways.
I am. Oh, darn it. Okay. Well,
Yeah, there
not
you
that better.
are. Yeah, it's better, but I only see half your head. Can you even
Mm,
see yourself?
I can't see you or me.
You
Let's try this
can't?
again. Mm-mm.
Gee, I wonder why. Well, I've got you on there. Well, you just dropped off. Okay, she just dropped off again. I do not wish to spend the last 15 minutes fighting with electronics. To be honest with you, yep, she's gone. No viewers. I mean, nobody trying to get on. Oh, thanks. I wonder how you say this. Shaitanya Prakash, thank you. Chelly Tranquilino, thank you. I'm waiting for Marissa to come back in. Look, electricity is going off. Adit Yusuf is watching. I think that's Adil. Hi, Adil. Uttam Kumar Pandit UKP. Sorry, I butcher all these names. Anna Maria, Marissa, of course, Marissa. Irfan Ahmad, thank you. Esther Salante, thank you. Somebody gave us stars. Thank you much. Okay. So sorry, you folks, because many of you might not even be here right now because the electricity keeps taking us on and off. But anyway, Marissa was there. I'll try one more time, but she's not gonna have much time to talk here today. I'll approve her. Let's see what happens. Let's see if she's got any channeling she'd like to go on. Otherwise, I'll just read. There you are. You're back.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Can you see
All
now?
right, go ahead and keep reading. Yeah, they haven't really come through with much of anything other than the fact that Gabriel said he will answer your questions. He said, I'll answer. Um, the You said something about Gabriel won't answer your questions.
Yeah.
He
They
said
don't?
he will answer, he just won't answer live on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Because there's too many people that could log in, hear like 30 seconds of like what we're saying, and it could be earth shattering for them, even if they're just like, oh, those people are idiots. But it's still, when somebody says something, it sticks in your mind. That's why marketing and stuff are so successful. Like, that's why social media is so successful at marketing, because all they have to do is put something up, and whether it's true or not, it still sticks in your brain. So yeah, no, we can do a session without cameras on, and they're going to come through with a lot more information than if the cameras are on, because everyone that's watching right now and everyone that will be watching, their guides are included in this broadcast. So anyone who's watching right now contributes to the energy. Anyone who's here in the future contributes to the energy of this. So yeah, anyways. But yeah, he said he would never tell anybody to strike or kill a man or woman,
Yeah. Yeah.
to never take the
Okay.
life, to never take the lives of another man or woman. He would say take the life by imprisoning them or taking them into captivity if they are speaking out in their beliefs against others, thereby harming others. So like it's harmful if we speak out about our beliefs that would harm somebody else in a way that they would go, oh, I don't believe in my beliefs anymore. But he's also saying there's people that believe in really, really like things that hurt their soul. And so then people that are speaking out about their beliefs were helping them. But he said there is such a fine line when it comes to the words in which I said. And when I said take the life of a man, it was not take the life of a man, it's take the life, like take the free will, take the livelihood of a man. And this was turned into take the life of a man. So there's a lot of different types of beliefs when the information was channeled through, and individuals who did not believe in a God were souls that were not going to be eternal. They were just going to die and just go into the earth and just never exist anymore. So there was a proclamation of truth coming through at that time, but there's always that same proclamation of truth. There's always the same frequency of truth coming through. It just depends on who channels it at that time. And I will say that I was not personally coming down and having conversations with Muhammad. It's like a broadcast. Imagine a broadcast and something that you believe, something that you think, something that is you playing over and over and over and over, because what he was communicating with was the mental body. And the mental body is just merely these, as this channel has called, Chuck E. Cheese puppets on a stage. Oh, remember that? Remember that puppet? We used to it used to be
Yeah.
hold on, let me drink my water. No, that's right. Yeah, I used to say, oh wait, they're not doing anything, and then the second we would look at them, they would like get all animated as soon as like we paid attention to them. But then when we didn't pay attention to them, they would get frozen. And I was referring to the Chuck E. Cheese puppets that you watch in Chuck E. Cheese. They just freeze, and then you look at them, and all of a sudden they start going again. So he's saying that that's basically the aspect of himself that he was communicating with. He says, and there's no discernment between Holy Spirit and Satan in terms of the creation energy that runs through the beings in the mental body. It's how we perceive it. So he says that's why doing a session whereby the cameras are not going, where we could explain things that we have explained to you before, where you can pull all these things together, whereas to explain them to others would be something that would be of the best, of the greatest benefit, or a small group of people, maybe 5 or 10 people that come together and collaborate with their minds and ask questions as well. I would be willing to do that, but not publicly.
Okay. Then there's really not anything I can ask him right now.
Well, you were just going to ask him if he said to kill man, and he says no. And what questions? And he'll say yes or no.
I can't find it because unfortunately I could not get onto my computer the Al-Islam Quran in English, and it has it in Arabic and English right next to each other. And I can get into this other one, but the numbering is all different and wrong. So I can't get to it until I can figure out how to get Al-Islam in there. And it's actually starting with verse 139 through 145 in chapter 3 of the Quran. And I go to it in this one, and it's not the same. It's just not the same. So I apologize for that. I'm going to have to get the Al-Islam one in here to make reference to the Quran. So all I can stay with right now is just, well, we're talking about lesson on self-mastery.
Well, yeah, and I also need to talk about that too. But he just wanted to bring that up about that if we wanted to do like a little like 10-person group or something like that, maybe like I could make like a class out of it, and then you could come and we could ask channel, and they could ask questions, you could ask questions, or they can just contribute to the energy. But it's called Al-Islam.
Al-Islam, ALISLAM. I believe it's .com or .org, and it would be the Quran with the English and Arabic.
Chapter 3, 146 to what?
139 to 145, chapter 3 of the Quran. And then another one was, and I need to look at it, is actually in chapter 4, and it's verses 85 to 92. I've got stars written above all those numbers, but I can't get to them properly here.
It says the focus is on the believer's steadfastness in the face of challenges and their commitment to God. The verses emphasize the importance of not being weak-hearted and the need for patience and perseverance. This is ChatGPT's explanation of it.
Oh yeah, they don't go
I asked
too
her for
deep.
the exact verses, and she's telling me what it is now. I wanted to know the exact.
Hey, I'm ready to hit the.
Oh, that's really scary that ChatGPT has a voice now. Oh my gosh, that was freaky. I was going to pull it up and just read it real quick if it was short, and then channel about it. But Jesus is here, and so is we've had a Rose before, right?
Rosemary.
It's not Rosemary. It's someone named Rose. Someone named Rose is here, and then here's like stuck on my face. Rose, and then Jesus is here, and then my higher self, your higher self, and then there's a whole bunch of like all these like angels, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think there's 16 of them, and then there's 2 behind me, so there's 18. Oh, 19, 20, and then I think there's 20 of them. 20 angels, and they're all kind of like surrounded around me in all these different directions, but they're around you too, and they're around everybody, and they're calling themselves a legion of angels. And they want to talk about how the legion of angels has been unleashed onto this earth, and when they unleash a legion of angels onto the earth, the angels don't just come down and like hover around us and go, "Woo, we're angels." They actually go into every single person's field. So imagine if I was to be like, "Hey, everybody, lunchtime's in an hour," or something like that, then everybody on the planet would have a version of me, a hologram of me inside of their field, making sure that they knew that lunch was in an hour. But I wouldn't specifically say lunch is in an hour. It's a silly example, but this is how, this is my higher self talking. This is how we're explaining it to you. When a broadcast is made by an angelic legion, every single person on the planet that has that frequency that they can adapt and connect with the angelic forces will start to act differently. So with the broadcast that we're bringing about, whereby peace is coming, everybody's going to start acting accordingly. Those who don't have peace within their hearts and minds will get aggravated. And this happened about 7 years ago. And this is something that's happening again, whereby you call it the white horse, but this is the peace is coming and the Legion of Angels have come in to set the stage. There's people on this planet that are trying to provoke another pandemic so that it can take out the white horse energy that's coming in, the peace energy that's coming in, and human beings need to remember this time. Remember this time. Compassion over pity. That's all you have to remember. Compassion over pity. Everyone goes, "Oh, you poor little thing. I feel so sorry for you. Here, let me give you this, or let me stick up for you, you poor little black person, or you poor little transgender person, or you poor little this, or you poor little white man, or whatever it is that you feel sorry for them for. That's pity, and that in your mind means that you think you are better than them. Compassion is being on the same level, understanding what they're going through because you've gone through it too, and having compassion for that. That's what did not exist the last time the planet went into a 5D frequency whereby everybody became creators. Everybody went into more of a, I need to get in my box with my race of people or my gender or my sexuality. I need to get into my box. I need to get into my home, and I need to point fingers and get on the internet and start calling people names. And that's what happened. So as this 7 months of energy starts to enter into the planet, people are going to start to feel peace, but then there's going to be the people like, Joe, you have this belief, just as you said earlier, something always is coming up. This is a belief that needs to be let go of because something doesn't always need to be bad. Something can be continually good, one after another, and that's how things are going to start to get, and people are going to get very nervous. So this legion of angels are here to broadcast to each individual's soul house, or soul, as this channel calls it, soul house or soul energy, the whereabouts of Christ, the whereabouts of the angelic forces, the whereabouts of where our planet is shifting through the universe, because huge changes are taking place. And yes, we've said this before, but we've always been right. And in retrospect, you guys always say they were right. Just believe us when we say this. Things are shifting, things are changing, and it's for the good. And if you can hold on to that good, not necessarily all, oh, my boyfriend's not going to leave me now, or, oh, I'm going to make all this money, because what if making all this money isn't good? What if your boyfriend not leaving you is what if that's a bad thing, staying with him? You have to understand that good and bad aren't all just about you and your physical circumstances. It's about your inner sense of beingness. And just as you were speaking of, it's the self-awareness and the self-help. What would they call it? The self-progression, self-help,
Self-mastery.
self-mastery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-mastery is extremely important when the planet shifts, because it's like taking you from, just as they said, from a battlefield into a very serene area, but you still have that same mood. You're still like, rah, ready to go. So you need to be able to take this mood, even though you're being shifted from one scenery to another, and begin to adapt. And a lot of people cannot adapt because they're so set in their ways. And to learn to master your own emotions and your own feelings is something that's just completely unheard of. And those that say that they have mastered their emotions haven't mastered them at all. They just think they have.
Yeah.
But understand that what you must do is just ask for your legion of angels for your highest and best good, in alignment with your soul's purpose and in alignment with Christ, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. Ask that you be led and guided and advised by them, and try this for a few days, and you'll begin to see your life shifting and changing right before your eyes. That was Gabriel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Boy, I
He
wish I
says,
could have.
you
Well,
can
he
ask him.
wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't going to answer. He wasn't
Just
going to
ask. And if
answer.
he doesn't want to answer, then he'll say. Then he'll.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't. I can't find it. Well, let me try again. Keep going if they have anything
Okay.
else to
Yeah.
say.
There. I don't know if anybody that's online has any questions. Oh, Marissa Carter's here. Hi, Marissa. How are you?
Oh, we haven't seen Marissa in a long time.
Yeah, I
Of
haven't seen
course,
her.
we were gone for a long time too.
I'm broadcasting from my page though too, so a lot of people that haven't seen it are probably seeing it now. Let's see here. It's called let's see. Can you look up in the Quran, chapter 3, verse?
Actually, I had the stars over 145.
Oh, he doesn't want to talk about the Quran.
He
So
didn't want to talk about the Quran. Yeah, okay.
correct. I don't have the ability to look up actual verses. That's funny. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah,
well, let me keep going. Okay. Is there any other guides that want to share anything? They said, well,
yeah.
this is kind of a big thing,
Just
letting
wrap it
people
up.
know that to the north, the south, the east, the west, and to the entire frontal hemisphere of your field, if you can imagine yourself like a globe, and the globe is on its spinning axis, and it's on its little pedestal where it sits. Imagine that you are that globe, you're the earth, and you're kind of spinning. And the angelic forces that are here. And even though you're spinning, they stay put. So we don't want to get this too confusing because we don't have a lot of time, but these angelic forces stay right in the front of you. So no matter which way you're going to be headed towards them. But it appears as if they're all around you because what you're looking into in this reality as a soul, as a consciousness, is a mirror. So imagine looking into a mirror and all these angelic forces are behind you. You're going to see them in front of you, but they're also going to be behind you. So what you can do each morning, each day, is ask that you feel or sense the the legion of angels that is here to guide and lead you on your soul's path in your highest and best way through Christ to what your soul wants you to be doing. They're going really deep into it. I'm like, cut it a little bit shorter because they're giving this huge long. They said, if you would just let us speak. Okay, fine. I'll let you guys talk. Okay. What I just said. Okay. If you would just let us speak, we'll explain it very quickly. All you must do is imagine this. Imagine that you have a tether ball, The pole in the middle is you, in essence, is the center of your beingness. The ball, if you can imagine taking that ball and hitting it and it going all the way around, then your legion of angels is all the way around you. If it feels like it bounces and goes back again, it means that there's a block. So you must ask for, if you call Jesus, Christ, the Messiah, the Savior, the Father, the Christ, whatever, the Holy Spirit, whatever it is that you feel is most powerful within you. In this channel, she says the Holy Spirit. So I now ask the Holy Spirit to clear any blocks that I have to my guiding forces, and just imagine hitting that tether ball again, and then it will go all the way around. And that just means that your angels are surrounding you. They're above you, below you, and to each side. It's a very, very, very simple quantum exercise whereby you're just imagining, and because you're imagining, it is so. You don't have to do anything else more complicated. As long as you have your angels in all around you, then each day you're turning your will and your life over to them. Things are going to go well. Things are going to go well. And try not to make things going well your definition within your own mind. If you lose your job, think, well, maybe I'm going to get a better one. Or maybe I was going to be at my job and something really horrible was going to happen because I was there and maybe I had to be spared. I just thought of Joshua. Remember, he was going to was possibly going to take that job and he didn't take it. And then it found out that the movie he would have been at was the one that got shot up.
Yeah, that was in Colorado.
Yeah, in Colorado, he didn't take the job, and we were like, "Oh, what is wrong with him? Why didn't he take it?" And then it turns out he's like a total Star Trek person, or not Star Trek.
He would have been in that theater. It was the
Yeah,
opening.
he would have been. Yeah, he would have been in the theater at the opening of the Star Trek and yeah, or Star Wars, and yeah, it got shot up by a crazy person. So sometimes we think, geez, why is that person having a nervous breakdown? Why aren't they taking this amazing job they've been offered? Maybe something like that. You never know. And we may never find out what the thing is that is the reason why. We just have to trust and believe that our emotions, they're saying our emotions are our guiding force. Oh, wow. So the angelic forces in front of us, those 12 angels that were in front of us, are all little pieces we tune into them with each of our different emotions. And that's why the human mastery is emotional mastery, spiritual mastery, soul mastery, is understanding the messages coming in from each of our emotions and feelings. And if we're having too much of a certain emotion, we can ask for our guiding angels to come in and balance out our emotions so we don't keep feeling anger or sadness or fear or whatever. I just have a question for them. Did they just say that the white horse is coming back in?
That's
Peter's like,
great.
yes.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good, good, good. The world needs the white horse.
He says
Oh, the
it
world
doesn't
needs the white
mean,
horse.
Joe, that your president is going to be president. It's just an energy that person comes in on. That's a frequency that
Right,
person comes in on. So
right.
when an election or something like that comes about, usually one of the horses will come in to regulate the emotional energy so that people don't go completely berserk, even though that's what they usually still do. But imagine if we weren't here as the angelic forces to balance people out. And the one that speaks to all of these forces is Raleigh, Raleigh, Raleigh,
Raleigh?
Raleigh, Ral.
Raleigh, North Carolina. That's the name of a town.
It's in England.
Raleigh. Oh, it may be in
I
England. I
thought it
don't
was
know.
Raphael.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I got that wrong.
No, it's Raleigh, or maybe it is town. Who knows? Let me see. Angel.
Well, can you wrap it up because we've got
Yeah,
like 3 minutes
yeah.
left, and I don't want to even
There is
go
an
to
angel.
three and a half minutes.
Raleigh. There
Oh,
is an angel.
okay.
Yeah, we'll look it up later. Anyways, I was like, what? But he's saying there's certain angels that speak out, and all the angels are watching
That
for people by where they are,
I
by
know
where
that
they
I
are on
know
the
that
earth.
Gabriel, but we're so short in time. Let me let Gabriel mull over this because if we get his answer, we're going to be beyond the hour. But it's verse 85 in the family of Imran. This would be the third chapter on Nisa, and it's verse 85, and it says, "Whoever seeks other than Islam as a religion." Now, earlier it said we're no respecters of religion, and nobody should nobody should be forced to be into any religion. This was in the Quran earlier. Now on 85 it says, "Whoever seeks other than Islam as a religion, it will not be accepted from him, God, Allah, and in the hereafter, he will be among the losers." Can't picture Gabriel saying that.
Well,
Yeah.
the
That's
being
why
that was
I
speaking
think
there
a
was
lot of this was.
Abaddon.
I think this whole
Ab
thing was edited. I think the whole thing was
no,
edited.
whoever was talking there, its name was Abaddon, Abadon.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's Abaddon. This is not Gabriel.
Well, suppose
Somebody
it. So see,
Abaddon.
more than just Gabriel was coming into to Muhammad,
Oh
but
yeah.
Muhammad doesn't know the difference between Gabriel and maybe even Lucifer. Anyway, we got to cut it. Rest, we got to cut it. So anyway, unless you've got something else you want to say right now, we got to go ahead and
I
cut
would,
it
but
off.
I mean, I can always edit these later and make it shorter than an hour. But that's fine. It's whatever you want to do. That's fine. I don't know who this Abaddon is, but it's a really gross energy, and 95% of the Quran is channeled by this person.
Abaddon was one of the fallen angels that came into the women of Genesis and
Seriously?
created, yeah. So anyway, and he was the leader. Abaddon, I think, was the one that taught metal making and swords and things like that. But I could be wrong. But that was,
Whoa. Well, I
yeah.
definitely do not want to channel this being because it's really powerful and really strong. And he says, I am God, and
Mm.
nobody can tell me otherwise. And all of these things are true that are stated in this Quran. And I will refuse those that do not believe in me. I will spite those who lash their tongue against me. He's an angry, evil God. And I don't want anything to do with this dude. But
Don't don't let
yeah,
it go.
he's not the father. He's not the father. He's a duplicate of the father that feels like he went rogue.
Well, even in paragraph 95, verse 95, just 10 verses later, it says, "Say, God has spoken the truth, so follow the religion of Abraham, the
Hmm.
monotheist. He was not a pagan." There's such contradiction. It's
I could go on
mind-boggling.
forever about
So
that
anyway,
one.
yeah, we got to
And
go. Wait,
they're
Marissa,
all
we got
just
to go.
dogma.
You say
Okay,
goodbye. Come up with your
all
last
right.
thought,
That's
and
it.
we'll
All
just
right.
get back
Bye,
together
guys.
hopefully tomorrow. Are you
Yeah, we'll
done?
be here tomorrow.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you for coming in today, and God willing, we'll be back here again tomorrow. We'll have more discussions.
Okay,
All
I'll be
right.
back
Thanks,
tomorrow.
everybody. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.